Okay, in the second half of your summer assignment, you have problems like this, where they're asking you to solve 5 to the x power equals 7. When I watch you guys solve these, what I see you doing is you're rewriting this problem as in log form, which is completely fine. You write it as log base 5 of 7 equals x, and then you use the change of base formula to get x equals the log of 7 divided by the log of 5. If you need a decimal, you can get a decimal from there with your calculator. Well, I would like to show you a different method for solving these problems, and the reason for that is because of some of the other problems that you have to do on your worksheet. But you'll see that in just a second. Okay, first of all, this other method is to start the problem by taking the log of each side. Now that might seem strange to you, but you're allowed to do that, just like you're allowed to square both sides of an equation or divide both sides of an equation by 3. You're allowed to take the log of both sides of an equation. Well, once we do that, still need to get x by itself. So I'm using the property of logs that says when I have an exponent here, that exponent comes out to the front. If you don't remember your 3 properties of logs, you really need to make sure you review those before school starts. X comes out to the front. Now the log of 5 is just a constant, so I'm going to divide both sides by the log of 5, and you can see we have the same answer. Okay, maybe that's a little more work when the problem is simple. I agree with you. However, when we have a problem like this, you can't use the first method. You cannot rewrite this problem as the log base 5 of x equals something, because you just end up going around and around in circles. So for this problem, you have to start by taking the log of each side. Now when we do that, the very next step is going to be the same. We're going to use the power property of logs to bring the exponents out to the front, like this. Make sure if you have an exponent that has more than one term, you put that in parentheses out in the front. Now, the log of 5 and the log of 7 are just constants. It's just like if you had a 5 there, if you had a 7 there, what would you do next? Well, we'd have to use the distributive property over here on the right side. Because remember, what we're trying to do is get x by itself. So when I use the distributive property, I get x times the log of 5 equals x times the log of 7 plus 1 times the log of 7, or just the log of 7. Now, just like a regular equation, I need to get the 2 pieces that have x over on the same side together. So I'm going to subtract x log of 7 from both sides. So now I have x times the log of 5 minus x times the log of 7 equals the log of 7. Now I'm going to factor an x out of both terms here so that I have x times the quantity log of 5 minus the log of 7 equals the log of 7. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the log of 5 minus the log of 7. It's just a constant. So now I have x equals the log of 7 divided by the quantity of the log of 5 minus the log of 7. And I can use my calculator to get an approximation now if I need to, or otherwise I can just stop here. This is the exact answer. You really need to make sure that you practice this process and that you understand how this works, because you will not be able, you can't solve log equations in this form using the method that you were using for the other problems.